The 1%er Podcast with Sam Bakhtiar, bringing you the 1% knowledge to help you reach your full potential. Learn what it takes to rise above the 99% and become a 1%er.
Welcome to the 1%er Podcast. Today I have a very special guest. My main man, Alex Rodriguez, is here all the way from Sarasota, Florida, in the man cave. He just actually landed, came straight here.
Essentially, yeah.
You actually had a hamburger or something, like a cheeseburger or something on the way here.
Had a cheeseburger, and then I came here.
Okay, I'm curious. You landed from Florida, You had a cheeseburger. Where'd you go for a cheeseburger?
God, man, I actually forget the place. But Kevin's said it was like the best place in town. I Bravo Burger or something.
Oh, you went to Bravo Burger?
Was it Bravo
Burger?
Burger?
Oh, yeah, got it. Bravo Burger. Yeah, that's the local OG. Okay.
It was so good.
Yeah, Bravo Burger, man, is like a local joint here in Chino Hills. And not only do they have the greatest burger, they have the greatest burrito. You know, and I used to, when I was on the bulk up, back in the day when I was bodybuilding, I used to go do heavy weightlifting. And for breakfast, I used to go and get this steak burrito with hash browns and egg whites, and they were like this big with some hot sauce. I put some serious size on doing that, man. That was amazing.
I probably got to do that too.
Well, you got the metabolism of a hummingbird,
yeah,
man.
I could probably eat 3 of those. I'm gonna have a cheeseburger after this, probably too, right? So yeah, I've been blessed with that.
You are blessed, man. Oh my God.
It's been an incredible travel, and thank you so much for having me on.
Of course, man. It's my pleasure.
Seriously.
Alex, you're 25 years old.
Yeah.
Okay. You've been speaking since you were
like 20
years old.
When it really went in.
You're such an accomplished speaker. You know, you were somebody who, I think we have like an opposite story.
Yeah.
You know, we were talking about it off camera, but yet so successful, not just I'm talking about in money-wise, you're just so successful as far as the mindset, as far as fulfillment, as far as faith, as far as family is concerned. And sitting in front of you, you're 25 years old. Gosh, man, I mean, I wish I had your mentality when I was 25, because it's unheard of. It's unheard of, like, you know, the way you think, you know how you're all about fulfillment right now. And just let's talk about that a little bit, because it's just mind blowing. I can't even, gosh, even 5 years ago, I wasn't as mature as you. And I'm 46.
I appreciate it.
So let's talk about that a little bit. I mean, how did that come by? Tell me a little bit about your history, about your speaking, and just, you know, your childhood, and how are you so mature for being such a 25-year-old kid?
So it starts like this. Humble beginnings from a humble man, my father, came from nothing, Manhattan, like poorest kid, richest neighborhood, right? And he was actually living in the basement, and the father was the janitor for that building, right? Your
father was a janitor?
No. He was the son. The father.
Oh, he was the son of the father. Okay, yeah. Got it. Your grandpa was a janitor.
Yeah. And simplify it like that, yeah. And he just grew up in this situation where he always wanted what these people had, but didn't know what it took to actually. He just knew it was there. He had the drive. He had the emotion.
He was exposed to it.
He was exposed to it, and that's essential. Environment is everything.
It's so important, right? Because if you're exposed to something, you see the possibility.
Exactly.
If you're not exposed to it, then you don't know the possibility. You don't understand the possibility. And people don't understand that. Just being exposed to the stuff like that is so important.
It's life's education.
Yes.
You have schooling, and then you have life's education. When you're in front of something, when you're in front of a person that has a mindset, when you're in front of someone that has a car, that has whatever it is that you desire to have, materialistic, spiritually, physically, mentally, it allows you to see what is possible. Because most people can't create outside of their circumstances because they're restricted. You know, they've never been taught to expand. Yeah. So the point is that my father came from this environment, right? Yeah. And that translated into when he was like in his teens, constantly manifesting. In his 20s, constantly manifesting. And he had a big break, made him millions by the time that he was like 20, I don't know, 7 to 30, right?
He had a big break. Tell me about the big break.
Sensomatic?
Huh?
Remember Sensomatic systems?
No.
Sensomatic systems? The tags on the back of clothes, you couldn't run out of the stores. They would beep.
Oh, okay, got it.
So yeah, he was like a sales rep for them. But he was the distributor for the Caribbean, and essentially over the years, he killed it. He was very smart. What he used to do is he used to go to one store, get denied, right? Go to the other store, get the deal done, and then go back to the store and say, if anyone robs this area, it's you, because they're safe. And then they bought as well. You know? So
that's
it's like,
smart.
yeah, and he crushed it when it came to sales in that space. He got bought out by the company, and you know, it's because he owned distributorship, and then made millions by the time he was 27, 30. And from that point on, it just continued to compound. He was in land, he was in hotels, he did all types of different businesses. And when I say that, people could say that, you know, I came from an entitled or whatever situation. The reality is he taught me the value first of God, of people, and of money, right? How to value money, how to value people, how to value God. And that was the most important thing for me, because coming from a life like that, it never gave me anything. I had to earn everything that I have. It built me into a state of mind of fulfillment apart from achievement. And that's what's different, where I think we can have a really interesting conversation.
Absolutely.
Because it's you know, a lot of younger guys, they haven't experienced that, they haven't felt it.
Yeah.
Success and like the things that you obtain with success, they're very fleeting. They feel great, you have them, but then life gets busier and busier and you forget about them. They become a burden, they become expensive, they become kind of obsolete, and the next thing always pops up. So it's for me, it's been a blessing in a sense of seeing what most people chase and kind of in the beginning.
That you already experienced.
Yeah, and then growing into more of a state of desire of fulfillment apart from achievement.
Wow, man, I'm taking notes because, as you know, I have 2 daughters.
Yeah.
I have a son on the way. And, you know.
You have a son on the way?
Yes.
Congrats.
Yeah, you know, son's due July 11th.
Awesome.
And, you know, you always ask yourself that question.
Yeah.
You know, are they going to have the same hunger, the same thing that I had when I was growing up, because I didn't have anything. And what I've learned from you is that even though your dad, you know, had so much, you were exposed to all the nice stuff, but yet he didn't give you anything. No. He taught you the value of faith, you know, family, and obviously hard work, and everything that you have to do, you have to earn it yourself.
Yeah.
I want you to dig a little deeper into that, because man, I would love. You know, obviously your dad probably is not going to come down here, but I would love to just get on the phone or have an interview with him.
100%.
You know, because I just want to see his mindset, because that's what I struggle with my kids right now. You know, is what should I give them? Am I giving them too much? Am I not giving them enough? You know, and I've seen someone like you, you know, come from such a privileged background. Yeah. You know, and are still out there making your own ways.
Yeah, because the thing is, it's like, this is my one life. There's no one else like me, no one else like you, no one else like your kids, no one else like my kids in the future, like my father or my mother or anyone that's watching this. And it's our duty as people to go out there and really do the most good. That's what I was raised up as. I know a lot of other kids.
Tell that to the Kardashians. Shit.
Well, they do the most good in their own way. You know, like you know what I mean? It's like, and that's not my place or anyone's place to for me, I've thought the same, but I'm like, that's not my place to judge. The way that I see it is that if I was, put it this way, I would never understand or have any leverage over you when it comes to what you experienced when you were growing up. Same with what I had, right? As just vice versa, right? Because it's different experiences create different people, but we can learn from each other, right? And that's why I only use social media for good. I only use my life for something good, because I know that by the end of it, all the stuff that you could ever have goes away. 10 years ago, we had certain things we don't have today. Did it change who we are? Not necessarily. We're still, you know, like, if it doesn't add to the spirit of who you are and to who you are as a person, you should not truly invest all your time, money, and energy trying to obtain it. Only obtain things that actually elevate who you are, like, internally, so that it can actually help people externally.
Oh,
like, that's the stuff that actually matters. Like,
I'm tripping, because the whole time you're talking, in my mind I'm tripping. I'm like, this guy is like a 45-year-old soul and wisdom, you know, in a 25-year-old body, you know, and it's just crazy to me, you know. And I told you that off camera. Yeah. You know, so tell me about, you know, fulfillment. Talk about that. Tell me what that means to you. Tell me what faith means to you. Tell me what you want to achieve. What kind of dent you want to put in this world. You know, tell me, you know, what's coming up for you next. I want to know more about you, man. I'm fascinated.
I appreciate it,
like,
man.
If I had a son, you know, when I have my son, I wish my son can be like you.
That means a lot.
And I mean that. And I mean that because, I mean,
Wow.
it's just the mentality. Because, man, I was a knucklehead when I was 25. I was a knucklehead when I was 35. You know what I mean? I was just not even in the same realm, not even the same stratosphere as you mentally are.
And to answer that question on fulfillment and faith, man, for anybody that's watching this, if you're like a young entrepreneur, man or woman, like the important thing to realize is the cars and the house, it's great, and you should obtain that for your family. Give them abundance, but for the love of God, don't waste your life thinking that that's what's going to make your life.
So true.
It's not.
So
because the relationships with people, it's the only thing that ever lasts in life. It's the only thing that's ever going to show up to your funeral. It's the Lamborghinis can't
walk. Gonna show up to the funeral by itself.
No. It's connections. It's people. It's fulfillment for me is understanding that you're going to die. You have an expiration date. You have a limited amount of time that you don't really know when it's going to come or not. So you just got to wake up every single day and put on your priority what you actually feel you're being called to do. I didn't go to college, and the reason why I didn't go to college is because I wanted a calling, not a career, and that was scary.
What is Alex's calling? What do you like I said, talking about calling, what is your calling? And then when you said you didn't want to go to college or you decided not to go to college, what was the reaction from your parents or,
Surprising, actually.
Surprising, okay.
Yeah. So what is calling, right? My calling, I would say, is something I'm still figuring out.
Okay.
I know a lot of people are quick to assume what the calling is.
Yes, for sure.
The reality is an experience tomorrow could totally shift my mindset of what my calling is.
Absolutely.
So my calling is never going to be figured out. I'm going to be figuring out my calling to the day I die, But what your calling becomes is who you became and what you did, right? So that's kind of how I see it. And my calling for me right now is doing stuff like this so I could amplify a message, so that I could reach people, so I could let people know that whether you're 25, 45, 55, that there's something deeper within you, without sounding cliche like every other speaker on the planet does, that genuinely can impact other people. There's two things that every person is. They're a teacher and they're a servant. We're all here to serve, and we can all teach. You don't have to own, I don't own a company as big as you, but I have my own experiences that are very different than you, and we can swap and share, and we could both be teachers.
Different ideas.
Regardless if someone's living in the projects or in a multi-million-dollar community, you all have something to share, and you all have something to teach. You need to be labeled an expert in order to be able to make an impact.
Oh, absolutely, man. I talk about that all the time, man. No matter, I was talking about that the other day. I have a couple of friends that sometimes we work out together in the morning. Yeah. And these kids, they're your age, and I've been working out longer than they've been alive. And a lot of time I go out to them and ask them, hey, let's do your routine today. Let's do your routine. And every time I learn something new. Yeah. Every time I feel sore because they can show me something that even though I've been working out more than they've been alive, I learned something new. So I love the fact that, you understand that. Yeah. We can all take away from our experiences and move forward. Yeah. So tell me about your life. Tell me in general about your life. What are you working towards? What does Alex do? What is your daily ritual? I want to get to know you more. So you get up in the morning, and what does your normal daily routine looks like?
Well, I'm just going to be totally authentic. My first of all, the thing that I stand by is lead with authenticity, because it's all about impact.
That's it.
That's my mantra, and I'm gonna be real. I try to wake up. I see how early you wake up. I'm like, oh my God. But the thing is, I wake up or try to as consistently as possible at 5 o'clock, right? Because then from 5 o'clock, I break it up into 30-minute increments. It's an hour and a half in the morning. So 30 minutes in the beginning of the morning is just no cell phone. I spend time with myself, spend time with God, and I just try to really relax and kind of get like a good mindset, because the beginning of your day really sets the tone for the rest of the day.
100%.
I've done days where I wake up like 8 o'clock even, although that may not be late to certain people, it's late to me. And then from 8 all the way to like it's just, for some reason, psychologically, whatever it is, I just get thrown off. So 5 o'clock to 5:30 is when I really just take time for my mind, my spirit. And then I take time after that to run. There's a bridge in Sarasota, Florida, where I run up and down the Ringling Bridge. It's beautiful. And you can see the sunrise. And it's almost like I spend time with God, then I visualize God. And then the last one is, so it's mind, it's body. And then it's truly just taking time to take care of me, just be with me, read something new, just invest in myself, and that's the hour and a half.
Hour and a half. Okay. And then what happens after that?
What happens after that is I jump straight into work, because then I feel refreshed. Okay. I feel good. I usually have a smoothie. Once again, I'm trying my best to become as persistent as I can in getting this every single day. Some days I have off days, sometimes, but every single day I do this is the best day of my life.
I know you're in health. I know you launched a product, a supplement company. Can you tell us about that a little bit? Yeah, so that part of that is actually the reason why I started that company. So it's called Kavita, and Kavita stands for Rooting in Earth Life. And I took some time to really think about the name and what could actually stand for, because everything I do I want it to have meaning. So the smoothies and kind of like going a more healthy lifestyle, my mother is adamant on that. She calls me up all the time. She's like, you need to go vegan. I'm like, I'm not going vegan, but I will eat more greens, Kavita is essential oil and CBD business. And the reason why I did that is because I've had a lot of people when I was younger, they died from opioids, they died from traditional medicine, anxiety attacks that doctors prescribe tons and tons of pills for, that got them trapped in this state of mind. And I'm not totally bashing it, but there are a lot of negative things going on with the pharmaceutical world right now. And I created these products so that I could donate 10% of every single one to pain, anxiety, and depression related causes. So, it's in the Bible. I give 10%. That's why I do it. So that's really the core of my business, and that's why I wanted to do it. Everything that you do is always congruent to your message. 100%. I love that. I meet so many people. I talk to so many people. They say something, but that sometimes their action is totally different. Yeah. But for what I'm finding from you is total authenticity. Everything that you do is exactly, your core values built into it.
It's the only way to live, in my opinion.
Well, it's only, but so many don't. So many don't.
I think it's difficult not to.
Because you live in a lie, right? You live in a lie. You're not. You say one thing, but yet you do another thing. And people, after a while, like you said, it will show it.
It shows up, especially with social media.
Yeah,
for sure.
Okay, so once you have your little smoothie, that you jump right to work. And what does work consist of?
Work consists of, for me, when I first started my entrepreneurial journey, a lot of me catching up on my failures. I fell short on a lot of different things. I was just trying to get back up on my feet. That's what work was for me. And it was just very frustrating. I had to create my own income. I dropped out of college. And to answer your question about my mother and father, I never answered that. My mother was like, go for it, travel the world, unrealistic kind of, but she wanted to see me do very well, whatever I was doing. My father is realistic, but he knows that everyone has the potential to become anything they want. So he says, I trust you in your decision to do so. I made something similar, right? He saw it in himself, so he saw it in me. So it was very supportive, but it was like, it's you though. That's on you.
You're on your own.
Yeah. And I was like, okay. So from that point on, coming into the question that you asked, the rest of the day, what's my work? It really consisted of just failures, being thrown up against the wall and having to come back from that. So now work for me is thank God success, building on it. But I check the emails, I make phone calls, I do as much as I can to network. Half of my day is networking, right? Even though I have to do work, whether it be, the Kavita or my speaking or some real estate that I do, it's just how many people, whether it's shooting DMs or if it's connecting with people, it's just how many people can I connect with, how many connections can I truly make? That's part of my day, every single day, because that's part of my impact, and that's part of other people's impact. I'm contributing to yours, you're contributing to mine, and that's what I literally demand that of myself every single day, to reach out to at least 10 people every single day that I don't know.
So once you do your work, you get everything done and all that kind of stuff. What's next? I'm just trying to figure out your psyche of a 25-year-old, because I was all into like, I get my work done, go out, get some drinking and partying and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
What do you do?
So here's what's interesting, actually. Like my whole life, and for anyone that's watching this that doesn't drink or doesn't smoke, like it's cool. Like it's actually a good thing. It's a wonderful thing. I was like, like my friends always beat me up about that. They were like, why don't you drink? Why don't you smoke? I don't have a desire to smoke. Yeah. Like I really don't, because I like clearing. I like my head being clear. Yeah. I don't really have a desire to drink. Yeah. Ever since New Year's of this year, I actually haven't drank. Maybe I have like 2 drinks this whole entire year, right? And the reason for that is because, not that I'm boring or like straight edge or whatever they call you, right? But it's because I just genuinely don't desire it. My body desires other things. Yeah. Like I get my fix from being with people, right? That's my high. Yeah. That's what gets me like excited. That's what gets me loose and feeling good and whatnot. And
you don't have to medicate yourself to feel good.
No, it's because you know what? My medication really comes through my gratitude. It comes through my time with God. It comes through what I do for my life. And so on the partying side, whenever I go out, I hang out with people that I can actually, that have substance, that are deep, that I can learn from, that can learn from me. I don't care if it's only 2 friends that I have. I don't really hang out with many people at home. I hang out with specific people because I understand how important energy is and how vital that is to your success and your mental health. So for me, after working and all that, like I actually spent a lot of time with my father, right? Because when he was making a success and when he was, building his foundation, I didn't really see him, and so I didn't really have a father. But now I do. I got a best friend, And
what an amazing best friend. Somebody who's done it, somebody who's built an empire, somebody who literally worked from the ground up, but just being around it, exposed, man. I mean, like I said, man, I would love, we'll do a Zoom podcast, because I mean, it's just, his story, and then obviously, having a son like you, with such a just mindset to this, a whole new level.
I appreciate it.
It's great. So in the next, you're 25 now. What do you see yourself doing in the next 5 years? What kind of impact do you want to do? What is Alex going to do in the next 5 years?
The next 5 years.
What do you want to do? What is something that you're striving for? I know that you're speaking all over now. Yeah. And that's something that you totally enjoy. You had the TEDx talk. Yeah. Let's talk about that. How you landed that gig, and
I'll tell you about the speaking. So there's a story that I just absolutely had to share with you. So this story was told to me by a woman very near and dear to my heart. I talk about this all the time when I'm on stage, or just whenever I can, honestly, because I love the response it gets from people. But 30, almost 40 years ago in Greece, there's this woman and like 4 or 5 of her friends, right? It was like Mother Mary's birthday or something like that, and they're spiritual people. So they went to the top of this mountain to party. Mm-hmm. There's a chapel and there's a bar, and they're at the bar till like 1 or 2 in the morning, and only the driver and this woman go to the chapel to pray, right? So keep this in mind. And what ends up happening is that once they all jump back into the car at the end of the night, start driving down this mountain, a very unconventional miracle happens, which most people would not really consider a miracle, hence unconventional. The car stalls on a corner. There's no guardrail. And imagine like you're driving one of these cars and all of a sudden you just have a black abyss in front of you. Headlights are not on any road. You're about to fly off a cliff. So visualize this. And she sees this and she's in the back of the car and the driver jumps out, fight or flight. What are you going to do in a situation like that? And within seconds, metal's twisting, glass is shattering, people are being thrown out left and right. This woman's in the back of the car. She's holding on for her dear life. She's to the point where it's like, you can't even sit up in the car. It's mangled to the point where you have to literally lay down and crawl out of it. And this is just consistently happening. But as the rocks are smashing this car apart, she somehow found this moment of peace and clarity where she knew she was going to die, right? But it was like she had an argument with God. Very interesting. I think Tim Story would love this because he was talking about faith when he was on here. She basically said, I'm not going to die here. I want a baby boy. I want a baby boy. I want a baby boy. I want a baby boy, right? And she was arguing with God. Like, I don't know if you can actually do that or not, but that's how she explained it. Wow. And over and over and over again. Comes to the bottom of this mountain, everyone's dead. Like it's a brutal accident. And she crawls out of this, looks at her body, and she sees nothing more than bruises and scratches, right? How do you explain that? I'm not necessarily sure. Feel free if you got an answer. But then she climbs up to the top of this mountain, adrenaline, like it's just you. She didn't feel anything in that moment. It's just so overwhelming. Meets up with the driver 2 or 3 years later. So come to find out, this woman is actually my mother. So, yeah.
What?
But that's why I believe everyone's been given purpose before given life. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Oh.
That's why I do what I do. That's why I speak.
Wow.
Yeah. She told me that when I was like,
Everybody died.
except the driver.
He
Well,
jumped.
He jumped beforehand, but
yeah,
everyone died.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So you're here for a reason.
And everybody is. Because
Oh,
the thing
of course.
is,
yeah, true.
absolutely. Because the thing, the point that I really like honing in on people is that you gotta realize it's like every single experience that you've had, every single situation, everything. Like before you even existed, like there was millions and millions and millions and millions of lives. Potentially, I don't know how many, but an overwhelming amount of lives and situations and experiences had to happen in order for two people like your mother and father to meet and then have you, by staying together long enough, through all the things that could have happened, in order for you to be born at the time you were, so that you can make an impact in the time that you are, and that you can continue that cycle. Like, if anyone feels like they don't have a purpose, you got to realize that there's a lot that happened before you came here.
Yeah.
And that's just a small example from me of why I believe I'm here. But people could look in their own lives too and look back and say, oh yeah, I'm having a down day, but look at all the things that God prepared in order for my existence.
Yes. Yes.
It's a big deal.
It is. I mean, you're flying at not even a 30,000 foot view. You're flying at a 60,000 foot view.
Yeah.
It's wow. It's speechless. Really speechless.
I appreciate that.
So you getting the you're speaking all over. And what impact do you want to leave? What will be your legacy? What I know you're all about the fulfillment part. What do you want to accomplish in your lifetime? You're 25 years old. You have the whole lifetime ahead of you.
Yeah.
And you're so far ahead of the curve with your mindset and the way you look at life. I'm sure you have, or do you? Do you have something that you're chasing and say, look, this is what I want to accomplish. This is what I want. This is what I want to leave the world. Or you said, you know what? I'm just going to do me, be authentic, and it will come to me.
It's a mix of that.
It's a mix, right?
Because the thing is, like, once again, I don't know exactly what's going to happen. I have an idea. For me, like on here, if anyone's watching this, I want to speak like crazy. Any stage, any place, whether it's in your home, whether it's at church, whether it's school, I don't care. I just want to share my message to as many people as possible. And that's just like my message out to the world. I want to utilize platforms to be able to, not promote myself. Everyone's doing that. That'll happen, but it's so that I can actually share a message that goes beyond my lifetime.
Well, I mean, when you impact people's lives, and when you're authentic, whether you like it or not, you're going to promote yourself because people don't love you. Yeah. People don't love you and what you have to. What do you have to?
But that's really it, man. Like when I think when I started this, I was like, I want to impact 1 billion people, right? That's a very, very big goal. But in today's world, it's not necessarily that far off.
No, not at all.
And that's the blessing. And that's why for every young man and woman that's watching this, old men, old women, doesn't matter how old you are or what state in life you're at, you have the ability to go out there and share your truth and impact, whether it's 1,000, 10,000, 100,000, million people. I've had over 150 million people view my stuff over the past 4 years. It's insane. And
that is insane.
It is insane.
I mean, that is insane.
I don't even believe it.
Can you talk about that a little bit? I mean, how that happened? I know we talked off camera a little bit about it. you know, because I saw that, I'm like, am I reading this right? I'm like, this is, you know, but tell me, and you told me also all faith, and you know, and I want the audience to know.
I really, you know, I could say I had it all planned. I didn't.
You have this master plan.
I really didn't.
You figure out the algorithm.
No, yeah, my God. When I actually started social media, like years ago, there was no real algorithm or anything like that. Maybe there was, and I just wasn't aware of it, but not to the point that it was now. It's pretty hard to grow at this point in time, but it's just consistency, it's good content and whatnot. But back then, dude, I posted my first video, got 20,000 views within 24 hours. And then I realized consistency is the key to this, because the videos were short enough to interest, but deep enough to connect. And that
short enough to interest, deep enough to connect.
That's actually one of the
I love that.
best points for anyone that's creating content.
Yes. Guys, remember, short enough to create interest, but deep enough to connect. You know, I had to stop for a second and then repeat that because I don't want people to go over their head, you know, rewind that, hit the 15, 30 second back and, you know, hear that again, okay?
Yeah, that's really what it was. That's what I attribute it to, because people have a very short attention span, but if you can make something deep enough and compelling enough, people will listen. People will feel it. It's not about what you say, it's about what you make them feel, right? There's a quote that goes by that. It's like, they won't remember it, you know. But people are going to be like, what's the quote?
I think the quote is, people don't care about what you know, so they don't know how much you care.
Yeah, and how you made how you made them feel.
Right.
Yeah. And you know, to come back though, to circle back to the main mission though, for me, it's really, I want to personally impact, like speaking on stages, meeting people, looking at them in the eyes and feeling the pain of a mother, feeling the pain of a young girl that's my age or younger, or the happiness of people or the gratitude of people. Like, I can't visualize a life any other way, right? This will never be able to give me the high that someone shaking my hand and crying, give me a hug and saying, you've impacted or changed my life or been a part of the change in my life could ever give me. Like, that's a human connection. It's a soul to a soul. And that's something that you cannot replicate. You can't put money on that.
No, you can't. You know, you really can't. I mean, you know, I've been blessed. I've been so blessed because just through, even without even knowing, you know, just through, you know, training people and through my training systems, through my gyms, I get dozens and dozens of messages every single day. Hey man, you know, your program changed my life. Hey, your program did this for me. Hey, I couldn't do this before, or I couldn't conceive and now I lost weight and got in shape and now we were able to conceive, or, you know, my doctors, you know, couldn't believe when I went back. I got off a high blood pressure medication, you know, cholesterol medication, you know, I was depressed and now I'm not depressed anymore. I'm off my medication because I feel better about myself. I lost weight and all that kind of stuff. And now my newfound joy is by, you know, coaching people, you know, just in business and in life, and just talk about, you know, my experiences and things that I've learned, you know, coming up as an immigrant, you know, to the United States and all that. And now that I'm listening to you, you know, now I know that even a rich kid growing up in a privileged family, can make an impact in the world if he has the right mindset and the right upbringing.
That's it, man. Because the thing is, I really don't, because there's going to be, I've already dealt with it, where they're like, you're on stage, what do you have to share? What do you have to do? And it's like, it's not like, you don't have to come from a broken place to be able to heal people. You can utilize the blessing of having a very positive upbringing to then share more positivity. Just most people don't.
Most people don't, and that's not what, you know, sell movies, if you will.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Movies is usually like, you know, it's a sob story or the Rocky movie, you know, and things like that. But it's so refreshing because you totally have flipped the script and have taught me that something that I've always wondered, having kids now that are privileged, you know, and answered something that I deeply want to know, and that's why I want to interview your father. This is for me, you know, just like I said,
for sure.
Because like I said, because I want, because I'm sitting here, you know, I mean, obviously, look, man, I mean, you know, you see, I'm not putting anybody down or anything like that. It's just a fact, you know what I mean? I'm obviously, you know, people who are watching this, they're gonna know that I'm not a big fan of the Kardashians. I'm not a big fan of Paris Hilton's and things like that. I'm just not, you know, and I'm like I said, I'm not judging anyone. I just don't want my daughters to grow up like
Yeah,
that.
to
You know,
emulate that.
I just don't want to. You know what I
Makes
mean? You know,
sense.
like I said, I'm not, they can live their life, and I'm not bashing anyone. I'm not here to that. I just don't want that for my kids.
Yeah.
And like I said, man, seeing someone like you, gives me hope. It really gives me hope. And gosh, I don't want to get all emotional about it, because my daughter's to me and my son is going to me everything.
Yeah.
And somebody told me it's not what you give them, is what you put into them.
That's like probably the best thing you could possibly say.
Yeah.
Because, and I also want people to understand this, watching this, is that there's a relatability that needs to happen, right?
Yes.
I want you to know, I struggle to make an income all the time, right? Like just any other entrepreneur.
Yeah.
There is no safety.
Yeah.
It's you're going out there, you do what you do, you create an impact. If I want to create something on my own, I gotta go all in it on my own, and that's the blessing of it.
But what I'm impressed with you, is that no matter what, you are still staying true to who you are,
Always.
what your core values are, and what you believe in, regardless of that. Because so many times, and I'm going to be the first one to tell you that I've abandoned that. When I was broke, when my house was being foreclosed on. Now, we talked about this off camera. I remember there was times that, I violated my core value, and sometimes I made a deal with the devil, because I needed to feed my kid, or I needed to, make sure that we don't get kicked out of the house, and, things like that. And look in hindsight, but what I'm seeing with you is that, what for you is a non-negotiable, no matter what. You're authentic, you stay true to your core values, no matter what. And that always comes before income, that comes from everything. And that's so noble to see at a young age, because we know, especially at, when people are your age, they're just trying to come up, and no matter what they're doing, whatever it takes to come up.
It's like I see a lot of, I've heard this quote before, I'm not necessarily sure from who, but it's like, to have the biggest building, they tear down other people's buildings.
Yeah.
The reality is, it's like, I've had at one point, I think, $100 in savings, $20 in the bank account. That sucked. Really sucked. And like, oh my God, that was horrible. And at that same time, I woke up every morning, and I didn't actually pray, but like in my mind, I prayed.
Yeah.
I was like, God, I don't know what you're gonna do, but you're gonna do something. All I'm gonna do is show up.
Yeah.
And like, gets me emotional, because the thing is, my father taught me that. He just basically said, he goes, listen, regardless of whatever situation you're in, right? You just always have to remain as a person of integrity. And I've fallen short of that before, but I'm really, really, really conscious about it. And I can't be a leader. I can't be here if I don't do that. Because then I'm a fraud, and you would have saw it.
Yeah.
So the thing is, I want to set an example. I want to be an example. I just want to continue to share what my father shared with me, and that's just it. And that's really it. I have more than $100 now, thank God.
You're able to fly here from Sarasota.
Yeah. But the thing is, like, that was a time where I thought about it. I was like, what are the things that I need to do in order to make the money, to make the income, to make ends meet? And it was really, really, really hard to say no to certain things that you knew would get you out of that situation, but would compromise on who you are, which actually takes a bigger toll on your income long term.
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
It's a short-term gain for a long-term loss every single time.
Yeah. Because the habits that you build when you're broke are the ones that are reflected when you're successful.
So true.
Very much.
Say that again.
The habit, God, I just flowed. But the habits that you obtain when you're broke and you're down and you're out are the ones that really reflect when you're successful.
So good, man.
It's true.
So good.
Because you as a human being, we all have habits, right? Whatever you do in your downtime, you're definitely gonna just expand on that when you have more of the resources to do so.
Yeah.
So if you cheat then and you basically find an out when there is no way out, right? Yeah. At any cost, you're going to do the same thing when you're successful.
That's what they say. They say money doesn't change you. Money just makes you who you are faster. Who you become amplified. It's an accelerant.
Yeah.
You know, if you're somebody who's always been ethical and you know, been given to charities and, you know, help people, it's going to help you, you know, you do more of that. You know, somebody who's already, you know, cheated people and stole from people and I don't know, you know, did drugs, you're going to give you more of that. Yeah. So it's just that. So, Alex, I know you're into cars. We talked about it a little bit.
I love cars.
You love
this
cars,
is the
man?
coolest podcast I've ever been on.
Awesome, man. So you know, I'm a car guy, right? Ever since I was a little kid, man, I was been infatuated with, you know, cars and sports and weightlifting, man. Tell me about your favorite car.
Well, it was interesting. I talked about manifestation that we talked about earlier. It's not my favorite car, but at the time it was my next dream car. It's the next thing I wanted, right? It was the Mustang 2017 gunmetal gray.
Yeah, I think I have a picture of it right here, right?
You got it, right?
Yeah, I think, let me see, where is it? Right there.
Yeah. That thing is so much fun. And the reality is, it's like, I don't need anything crazy, right? Like that to me, when in 2015, when it came out, that model, that new remodel, I was like, I'm gonna have it. I'm gonna have it. I never doubted it. It was actually this interesting thing that I did where basically I knew what the car looked like, right? I knew what the car felt like because I sat in it. I knew people that had it, so I knew how people acted that obtained something like that. I knew where I would drive. I've drove those streets. I knew the type of weather I would drive it in. Like, the reason why I'm saying that is because although I did not obtain it or have it at that point in time, I built this idea within my head that took from other memories and formulated one that didn't even exist but felt real because I pulled from other sectors. It has to do with NLP. I learned from Kevin. I didn't even know that, you know, but pulling from different sections of my life to create a reality that didn't even exist up here. And that is actually the reason why I took that picture. That's the exact image I had in my head. I was gonna drive down that bridge with that car, and then a photographer just happened to take a picture of that. And I was like, yeah, it was weird. Like, that's what I've seen for like 2 years before I actually eventually got the car. But it was interesting. The story that led to that was I got back from Ty Lopez's house, right? Because I got featured on his social media marketing program. And when I got back, I basically said, I want to go get a car, right? Like, I want to switch it out and whatnot. So I had this in my mind, that exact car. And the guy says at the dealership, I feel like I got something for you, right? Maybe you'll like it. You know, it's because we looked at a red one and I was like, I don't want a red one. I don't want this one. I don't want that one. Like, I'm specific with what I want, but for some reason I didn't tell him. He cut me off and he says, I know which one you want. This is crazy. Pulls up the exact car. Same wheels, same color car, everything that I wanted. And he pulled it up and I said, all right, that was weird, but I will take it, you know?
That's a sign right there, man.
But I'm telling you, I'm into cars. Lambo, Ferrari, I'd love to have them one day. God willing, but for right now, that is the perfect style for me. I'm casual, I have a great time in it.
God,
you know?
you're such a humble, such a, like, you know, low key, you know, guy, man. Like, gosh, like at 25, man, I was like, man, you know, I would talk about Bugattis, I would talk about this, Lambos, Ferraris. But you understand the progression. You understand the next step. Hey, man, you know, I want to take the next step. You're okay with the next step and next step and next step. You're not trying to lose your identity or lose your integrity to jump right into a Lambo. You know, you're like, no, I'm okay. You know, I'm okay with this. And like I said, man, I'm sitting down here, you know, and I can't say it enough. I'm tripping. You know, this is something that I'm going to remember. You know, like I said, you know, this for so long. You know, I'm sitting in front of a 25-year-old who is so humble, so big picture. You know, and so knows exactly who you are, what you represent, and that's what you want to be, and sticking to it no matter what, man, and avoiding all distractions and avoiding all the things that could possibly jumpstart it, but for the long-term price, and you're avoiding that. That's beautiful.
Yeah, it's because long-term, I win.
Yes.
I know that.
Yes.
I'll win long-term.
Yes.
But that's why all my friends now where my friends no longer talk to me, they watch this and they hit me up and they say, oh, I'm glad you're doing well. You know, like that type of stuff, I'm not interested in that. You do your thing, I do my thing. I just know that I'm not taking shortcuts. Yeah. And I just know that there's gonna be an opportunity here and there that compounds to one day at the end of my life, it doesn't matter if I become like whatever people would expect to become. If I'm happy, I live the good life. That's the most important part. And to touch on what you said about the Lambo, right, and whatnot, what's the point of hopping out of a Lambo if the car looks better than your personality?
That's so true.
You know what I mean?
We don't like that. It's so true.
You know how many people hop out of these things and they can't hold a conversation?
Yeah.
They don't know how to, and I'm dissing a lot of people, but that's not in a negative sense. It's like, work on you.
Well, bro, I remember, I never forget when I first came to, Southern California.
Yeah.
And, my cousins took me out to a nightclub.
Yeah.
In Newport Beach. And this nightclub was like the most exclusive nightclub in the Newport Beach.
Yeah.
And I mean, what happens, man, in the nightclub when it's ready to leave, all the guys pull up their cars and they're all showing off up front, that kind of stuff. And I remember seeing this specific guy with a Lambo pulled up to the front. He had zero personality, and just the way he carried himself. Mm-hmm. Just zero, gosh, it was like he basically, like you said, the car looked so much better than him, and just overall, like I'm going like this. And, I was, for me, growing up in a poor neighborhood and, always, thinking Lambo was the ultimate, and all that. I remember I'm just like paying close attention because I was a broke student. Mm-hmm. I had a 96 Civic with 300,000 miles on it, And I remember the guy pulled up and I'm looking at him, I'm like, so I wonder who he's going to leave with. Is anyone going to leave with him? Is that, like, I wonder how much of an impact that car has, because if he was in a regular car, nobody would leave with him. Mm-hmm. And do you understand, like, nobody left with him? And that taught me right there, man, it's like, you know what, it's more than that. Yeah. It's just not just, a car doesn't make you or break you, you make you or break you.
Yeah.
So Alex, tell me, for those people who are watching, how can they get a hold of you? How can somebody book you for speaking events? Mm-hmm. What are the next things you're working on, so people can, like I said, get to know you more and come and inquire more, because people need to know about you.
I really
you're just going to get better and better, man. 25 years old, man. I'm just going to watch you from the sideline with a big smile. And I'll be rooting for you, man. And I'm not even, I'm serious with all my heart, that I hope my kids have the same kind of mentality that you are growing up.
That's like beyond, I don't know how to comprehend that. Dude,
I'm saying that. I don't say things to say things, but I'm saying here, I'm going like, because that's something I struggle with. Like, am I doing too much, too little, and all that kind of stuff? And seeing you, like I said, growing up in a privileged home and having this kind of mentality, and you're not all about, I need Gucci, I need a watch, I need this, I need a Ferrari, I need this, I need this. What I mean? That's refreshing, because that's what you see.
Well, the funny thing is, like, I'll talk on what you just said in a second. I don't know how much time we got away.
No, we got all the time in the world, man.
Okay, great, because I talk a lot. But the thing is, like, I saw a guy once, it was amusing to me, where I think it was like Gucci shoes, it was a Hermes belt, it was like different stuff, and I walked up to him and I said, I appreciate your style, but why? Like, why are you doing it? Because you got like a bunch of these different styles on. You're a walking advertisement. Like, do you actually like this, or are you doing it because of the people that you think will desire it, right? Yeah. And he was very honest with me, and he says, part of me likes it, but it's overwhelming, Yeah. And I was like, well then, dude, just let it go. Yeah. Work on yourself internally, so that it's because. The thing is, when you do that, and when you make yourself about what you look like, not who you are, you attract people that will put you down the wrong track in life. Yeah. If you become the right person, the right people are attracted to you.
I've been that guy. Because of my poor upbringing, to me, I thought that was success. Mm-hmm. For me, having, we probably seen on YouTube my shoe closet.
It's amazing though. It's awesome.
But I mean, like, now that I did that, I'm like, that was like function of my poor upbringing, and saying, okay, one day I make it, I'll do this. I did it. Mm-hmm. And now I'm like, fuck, it's so funny, because my crew that's here watching me, I wear the same shit every day. Like, I don't really, I have, 150 pair of shoes, but I wear something. Now I look back, I'm like, I don't really need all that. Or why did I do that? It was function of, okay, one day I'm here, I made it. So look at me, look at me, look at me.
Yeah.
And now it's like, it's funny when I get up every morning, I'm like, I just want to wear my own shirt. You know, I want to, if I'm not going to advertise for Nike, Hermes, Gucci, you know, anybody else, I'm going to advertise for me. This is me.
Yeah.
You know, so, you know, and gosh, if I knew what you know now when I was 25, I would be 100 times more advanced than I am now. You know, and that's just so refreshing. Like I said, man, I'm just tripping.
It's just the reality for anyone that's out there. It's like there's things, the things of real value in life are the things that you cannot buy.
Yeah.
You know, and you would never realize that until you had the money to buy. You know, that's like what's really interesting is that because it's like maybe not in your situation, but probably in your situations, is many people's situations. How many shoes do you really need, right?
2.
Yeah, but the thing is, most people's insecurities, right, growing up, said you need 148 more. You know what I mean?
And I was me. And
there's nothing wrong with that because that's just everyone has insecurity, and people want to fill a void. But I'm telling you, if you could fill a void with God, with fulfillment, with things that are greater than yourself, then you are going to save a lot of money, save a lot of time, and you're going to be a lot happier.
Brother, I'm just going to tell you this, man.
You know? As
a 46-year-old, you know, somewhat successful multimillionaire that owns a company that's worth $100 million. You know what I mean? I want to be able to call on you. I need you to coach me every once in a while. And I'm dead serious. I'm going to say that on the camera because, I mean, I'm sitting down here. Like I said, I'm just going like this. I'm like, man, I'm sitting down here and this 25-year-old is just spitting game and spitting knowledge. And I'm just absorbing all this knowledge that I'm like, what the heck? I mean, it's like I'm, you know, and I'm speechless, as you know, people can see, and I'm not many times I'm speechless because I'm just looking back. I'm like, wow, wow. You know, this has been one of the most amazing interviews for me because my mind is rejecting a 25-year-old with this much knowledge, this much wisdom. My mind is rejecting that, you know, and like I said, I'm just speechless. So once again, tell me, how can people find more about you?
And then the speaking and all that. So my Instagram is Alex the Speaker. I chose Alex the Speaker because it's when I meet people.
Baby.
Yeah, when people, it's like Chance the Rapper, if you ever heard of that guy. And the
reason why
the reason why I do that is because it's like Alex Speaker, you know what I do. Yeah. But it's Alex Speaker on Instagram. On my Instagram, I have like a close friends list where I'm sharing with people and teaching people skills of how to actually become communicators, because I believe the education system has lacked in that. Yeah. So that's actually something that I do. It's like a private group that I have. Anyone's interested in that. And for speaking, you can email me at alexthespeaker@gmail.com. And I'm genuinely, I don't need a ridiculous market, payment or anything like that. Or, you know, like most speakers are like, these are all the demands, right? I just want to be in front of as many people as possible to share a message that actually matters. You know, so if you got a platform, let's talk. Yeah. That's really it.
Well, you heard it here, Alex Rodriguez, Alex the Speaker, you know, just dropping wisdom. It's just incredible. Like I said, it's mind-blowing. A 25-year-old with this much wisdom, you know, coming out. And you guys heard where you can, you know, get a hold of them. And again, thank you guys for watching this. You can see this on iTunes, on YouTube, and on all the channels that are streaming. Appreciate you guys, you know, checking in. And Alex, thank you so much for coming all the way from Florida here. So I appreciate having you, man. Thank you.